Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition in our webinar series. My name's Neil Thorne, and I'm Head of Origination at Ometis, and I'll be comparing the session today. Today's topic is PixelPerfect reporting and how that's been introduced to Qlik SaaS, allowing end users to create professional reports using data directly from Qlik apps. So, joining me today is one of our senior Qlik consultants, Tom Mitchell. I'm sure several of you on the call will have worked with him previously. And Tom is going to explain how PixelPerfect overcomes some of the common reporting issues that we hear. He'll show you how the software works, and he'll provide you with some potential example use cases. And also on the call is my colleague Chris Lofthouse, who will be around to answer any commercial questions that may come up. So there's a handful of the people on the call today that may not be aware of Ometis and what we do. We're just over 50 people, and essentially we help organizations get more value from their data. We help them with data strategy and digital transformation, all the way through data integration and governance, data literacy, and onto advanced analytics and AI. We partner with Qlik. In fact, we are their #1 partner in the UK. But we also partner with the likes of Snowflake, Databricks, Jedox, Microsoft. So we do support our customers across a broad reach of technologies. So at this point, let me hand over to Tom, and he will take you through PixelPerfect.
Hey, thanks, Neil. And now that you know a bit more about us, we'll get into the topic of today's webinar, which is reporting. So for me, reporting takes me all the way back to the beginning of my career in data. I started off my career in data as a data analyst. So I know all too well how it feels to build reports manually, sometimes even every day. I still get nightmares about opening Excel with auto calculate turned on. You know, you open a file, suddenly you see your computer freezes, your CPU's maxed out, and you just have to sit there and wait and hope that it comes back at some point. Maybe go and get a coffee, go and speak to somebody. It really ruins your productivity. Or maybe when you need a colleague's input before you send a report out, and they promised you they would do that for you this week, and then you find out they've gone on holiday for the rest of the week. So manual reporting, it can be terrible, but luckily there are more options available. So as I've mentioned with manual reporting, there are a lot of reasons to dislike it. But there's only so much I can put on the slide. So I put my top 7 on there. But it's not all bad. Although I'm glad I'm not running the reports anymore, manual reports anymore. I know why we all end up doing it. Most businesses already have tools like Microsoft Office licensed, and they already use them. So without needing extra budget or to learn something new, the path of least resistance takes us to those tools. But what we really need is automation, something that frees up our time so that we can focus on adding value. So instead of spending hours on manual reporting, we could be analyzing data and uncovering insights. But the good news is that Qlik already offers a suite of tools to help us with this. As you can see in the bottom left, this includes the locally hosted end printing for Qlik View and Qlik Sense, SaaS automations, and SaaS reporting services, which itself includes tabular reporting, and more recently, PixelPerfect. Some of the capabilities you can see on the screen there, scheduling, creating reports straight from your Qlik data, and you can export that to PDF, Excel, or PowerPoint. So, really brings that automation to life. So introducing PixelPerfect. If you've used end printing before, this name might sound familiar to you. Qlik has rebuilt PixelPerfect as a fully integrated template tool straight into Qlik SaaS. So there's no installation required, no setup. It's just ready to use straight away with your Qlik SaaS license. Much like tabular reporting, PixelPerfect lets you create professional reports using data directly from your Qlik apps. Comes with all the benefits, automated scheduling to distribute reports to both internal and external recipients, plus on-demand report generation right from within the app. But what really sets PixelPerfect apart is the level of control it gives you. Not to be cliche, but it does let you design right down to the pixel, creating highly customized, polished reports for your recipients. So without them needing any technical skills to source the data themselves, they can get exactly what they need. So if you like the idea of building a report once and letting automation handle the rest, this will be the perfect solution for you. And your business will also thank you as they see how much time you saved and how much you've used that time instead to create more business value. But now you've seen what PixelPerfect can do, let's see it in action. So what I'll do now is I'll walk you through a live demo just to show you how easy it is to build and automate reports with this tool. So for this demo, I will need to switch over and share my screen. But just to preface the demo, let's imagine that Ometis are a wholesale of consumer goods, and the sales manager has asked us to produce a report to support their sales meetings. These meetings are at least once a week, but can be more often, and even on an ad hoc basis. And to me, this sounds like the perfect opportunity for us to make use of the on-demand report generation feature. Okay, so
Yep, all good.
Thanks, Neil. What you should all be able to see now is the consumer goods sales app. So this is containing all sorts of metrics on our hypothetical Ometis wholesaler. And what we need to do is we need to get a report for our sales manager focusing on product groups. He's in particular, this sales manager is only really concerned about the Northeast region. So we'll select that on here for him. And he wants to know the top 10 product groups by total revenue. And luckily we have a very nice bar chart on the right here that can show us that. So if I just select the top 10, and now we're ready to build our report. So it's very easy to do. Just come across to the top left and you click on your drop down. You just come down to reporting. So we'll open that one up. Once this new window opens, at the top you can see there are some tabs. You just go across to templates. And then from here, you can go across to create PixelPerfect template. So we'll give it a name. I'll go for sales by product group, and then just hit create. And just like that, seamlessly, we are now into the template designer, so we can start building. As I said before, no installation required, very quick to get going. So the first thing we're going to want to do is adjust our canvas just to make it a bit nicer for us to work with. So I'm going to reduce these margins, the top and bottom, just by dragging the bands, and then make our details slightly larger. Just to, once again, make it nice and simple for us. So as I mentioned, you can put branding on here, and this is something that we're going to want to do. So I'll show you how to do that. We're going to grab on the left-hand side a picture box. I'm going to click and drag that all the way onto our canvas. Slightly adjust that to give it a bit more space. We're going to click on settings and select our image. There we are. That's straight in there. And now we're going to adjust our sizing just to auto size. Just prevents any stretching, keeps the image close to its natural resolution. We're going to want to add a title to our report. So we can do that with our label object. Once again, click and drag that onto our canvas. Make the box a little bit bigger, and we can enter our report title. Okay. Now it is a bit small, so we will increase the size on that. Otherwise, we would need a telescope to see it. So let's put that up to 25. And let's keep it simple. Let's go for Arial as the font name. So that's nice and big, we can see that. And then the final thing we need to do is get that top 10 list of product groups on our chart. And to do that, we will need to bind the data to this template. It's super easy to do. So instead of going to the left this time, we'll turn our attention to the right-hand side. And you see this icon looks like a database with a plus icon. It's called the field list. we want to add an image. Click the plus on there. What this is going to do, because we open this template straight from our consumer goods sales app, it's going to open a list of sheets for that app. And we know that the chart that we're looking for is in the sales by product sheet. So we'll open that one up. Fortunately for us, there's only one bar chart on that sheet, so we know that the top one is the one we want. But sometimes if you haven't named your chart, it will give you the chart ID, the unique ID for that object. So in order to make sure you're getting the right one, if you had multiple bar charts on there, they give you a nice preview feature. So we can just open that up to make sure it is the right one we want. And yes, that is it. So then all we have to do is click the plus symbol, and that will add the chart to our list. Simply expand, click and drag onto our canvas, same as we did with the other things. We'll give this a lot more space because this is our main feature of our report. And then you can see in the top right, we have a Save Template button. Now you don't have to click this, but I would recommend click it as often as you can remember. You'll notice when it's clicked, it will tell you that it was saved and it will go grey. Now this won't go green again until the report detects you've made a change. So if I slightly decrease the size, you'll notice it goes green again. So you could almost say, as soon as it turns green, click save, because at the moment there isn't an auto-save feature for this tool. So from my experience, definitely recommend hitting save as often as you can. But yeah, this is the report that the sales manager wanted. So let's have a look at the output. And to do that, you just hit the preview report button. Very easy, one click. It will generate the report and it will pop up just like any download from a web browser. And we can click on this to see how it looks. And there you have it. As easy as that. We've created a very basic report that we can now send out via email. We could send it to SharePoint. We could download this and put it in on our local drive, send it on Teams. There's really lots you can do with this. Luckily, something I will mention, the preview report, it doesn't consume any of your reporting capacity. So no matter how much capacity you have, hitting preview report won't consume that. From experience, you make a tweak, especially when you get more complicated or more advanced reports, you'll want to check how these tweaks look quite regularly. So you might end up in a day of working on this, you might end up previewing it 100 times. Not to worry, that is not going to come out of your capacity, which is a great feature. But we've sent that to our sales manager and he is really happy with what he's seen, and he's now asked us for more. He now wants to see a more detailed report by state. So within his Northeast region, he wants to see a breakdown of his top performing states. So I have pre-built a report for this, a slightly more advanced report in its design, but it will show you in the short amount of time we have today to just kind of the extra features, if you like. So similar to the other report, we have our branding, we have our title. On this one, I've chosen to put an executive summary on there. There is a contents page on here. And then if I scroll down, this is where our main insights are going to appear. Now you'll notice, even though I've said our sales manager wants a report on multiple states, there's only one sheet here that is covering states. And that is really where PixelPerfect comes into its own, is you design it once and it will scale up to suit your needs. So what if we go back to our app, clear off product groups, because that report, this report doesn't need that. Go back to our KPI dashboard and we use this lovely donut chart to select the top 3 states. And what we want to do is, I'll show you how to do the on-demand, how to enable it, because that's a relatively new feature. So once you're on your reporting screen, you see your templates, because you've clicked on your templates tab. You see there's a column here, on demand, and by default that'll start as off. But if you go to the 3 dots on the right hand side, you go down to on demand, you'll notice that there are slider toggles. For PixelPerfect at the moment, it is just PDF, but I'm sure in the future, as we've seen historically, Qlik will look to add more file formats to this option. You add a file name. We'll just call it a sales report, and you can even add a description if you like, but we won't do that this time around. And again, at the top, you get the notification to let you know it's updated. We can see in our column that it is now a tick and it's on for PDF. So if we come back into our app and we just pretend that we're a user, or maybe we're going to be running this report on demand for ourselves, if we just close and open the assets panel, you'll notice there's now a reports button here. Now that will show up when you have at least one report enabled for on-demand generation. So if we click on that, we can see our sales report in here. We've got our filters applied. So this will dynamically affect how our sales report comes out. Click the download button, and this will start swirling off and start generating. How long that takes will depend on how much data is in your app, the efficiency of your model, and how complicated your template is. But for us, this has been super quick. And there you go. You can see our title page. You can see our contents page, which in the current PDF format that we have is interactive. So it will work. So if I click on New York, it will take us straight to the New York page. And you can see this is the state page that I showed you on the template earlier. Not only do we have New York, but Qlik is able to dynamically realize each of these values in the state dimension and produce a sheet per state. So we have our Pennsylvania one and we have our Virginia one. Now that was showing you how to do an on-demand generation. You can also set this up as a scheduled report to send out to recipients. Due to time constraint, I'm not going to show you how to do that today, but we do have a YouTube video that we did, Chris did, as with our webinar. It's on our YouTube channel, the Ometis YouTube channel. It's called Tabular Reporting. It was about this time last year. So if you want to see how to do that, definitely go and check that out. But yeah, that will conclude the demo portion. If you just bear with me while I hop back to slides.
Yeah, Trish has just put the link to that previous webinar that you did with us, Tom,
Perfect.
into the chat for people.
I mean, I didn't do it. It was Chris. But,
oh, was it Chris? I'll beg your pardon.
It was Chris.
God, giving you
I
more
can't steal his thunder.
Jim.
Yeah. No, I've got to be fair. Right. Okay. So hopefully you can see the demo, the slides again.
Yep.
So now that you've seen how PixelPerfect can very quickly build you reports, I think we should have a look at some examples of some other use cases. So we focus just there on a regional sales dashboard, but other examples could possibly be, manufacturing KPIs. So maybe, are we hitting our production targets? What was our wastage percentage yesterday? Maybe for invoices. So with your company branding on it, it's intelligent enough to cycle through each customer you sold to this month and then send their own invoice to each of them individually. Or even maybe for your internal processes, maybe you've got your IT service desk metrics aren't that visible, and you want to get them distributed out to people to see maybe how many of their calls were first-time fixes, or maybe you start to see incidents appearing regularly. Maybe that should be a problem. We'll get that raised and investigated further. But I mean, really, these are just some samples. The use cases for PixelPerfect and for Qlik reporting service in general are really broad. So don't limit yourself in your inspiration and your ideas. If you can think of it and you can build an app with it, you can probably make a report for it. But if you aren't sure if this tool is for you, or if you have any questions, then let us know and we can definitely help. And just a note on some technical details. So there are some requirements. This is from our experience. We're kind of just sharing as some advice, really. So if you already have a Qlik SaaS license and you already have an app with data in it, you can get started literally right now. You will need the ability to edit the app in terms of the permissions that you have on your tenant. But that's really, there's no installation, as I said before. There's no you don't need your IT to start approving things or start granting additional access. Really, it's really pick it up and go. If you do want to make something more advanced, like the second template I demoed, then I would definitely recommend you give yourself 5 to 10 hours to familiarize yourself with the banded authoring that you get in PixelPerfect and the vast customization options available to you, because PixelPerfect is so customizable and there's so much you can do with it. The first time you enter into the tool, it can feel a bit overwhelming. So give yourself some hours there to familiarize yourself, basically. And then, as mentioned before, we are here to help. So if you would like to expedite your learning through workshops or have us build your templates for you, we do offer these services, and you can reach out to a member of the team for more information. But before we wrap up today's session, I'd like to pass it back over to Neil, who I believe is going to share some exciting details about our upcoming webinar.
Thank you very much, Tom. Yeah, no, that was really good, mate. Thank you very much for that. So before we get to the Q&A section, and there are a lot of questions in, so you obviously struck a chord here, Tom. I just want to let you all know about another webinar coming soon, and that's going to be on the 29th of April. And we'll be joined by one of our partners, Jedox, and this is going to talk about financial planning, budgeting, forecasting. So yeah, watch out for more details about that nearer the time. It will appear on our events page on the website shortly, if it isn't already. I think it may even already be there. And if you follow Ometis on LinkedIn, we make most of our announcements on there, and we'll email you too. So hopefully nothing slips through the net. So let's move on to questions, and we've got lots. So let me start from the beginning then. So Scott, well, I don't know whether you want to cover this one, Chris. So Scott was asking about Qlik's tabular reporting versus using another third-party solution, something like, well, in fact, in their case, I know where Scott works, they have Calyptus. So it's just sort of, how do we compare that to that sort of tool?
Yeah, so just first off, I've got a cough at the moment, so I might have to put myself on mute. I have to say that on every call. But yeah,
only when it's an awkward question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting question. What I'll say is the Qlik capabilities aren't necessarily as feature rich as some of those tools. So it's fair to say that I would just look at the kind of features that you're getting with those capabilities and what's currently within the SaaS platform. I've seen other questions around this is what Tom's shown today specifically for cloud. There is imprinting, obviously, which have a lot more features and much more feature rich that compete more directly with Mail and Deploy and Calyptus as well, but they are specifically for on-prem versions of Qlik. One of the advantages, though, around PixelPerfect reporting or the Excel plugin is that they are native, they are baked in. If you are on cloud already, you get a freemium version of that. So, you already have access to it, and it's got a strong roadmap, which means that a lot of these features that other third-party tools have will be, that feature gap will be shortened very, very quickly. Is the anticipation there as well. So I would always evaluate what those tools, what actual features you are using within those tools, and just double check that they are within either PixelPerfect or the Excel add-on. One thing that Qlik Cloud doesn't have yet is the HTML templates and PowerPoint and Word documents. Those might be in those third-party tools already. And I imagine that they'll come to Qlik relatively soon, but soon could be up to 24 months away as part of that. I do know HTML is on the roadmap for hopefully this year, but don't make a buying decision based on that as well.
Yeah. My old friend Mr. Pete Sage, can we upload company fonts?
To PixelPerfect, I don't believe you can. I did look at doing an Ometis font, but I wasn't able to find the ability to do that. I'm not sure at this point whether how the theme of your app integrates into the editor. So that might be one for us to test, but I would probably err to the side of, at this point, no, you can't. You have a set list.
Okay.
Fonts.
All right. and yeah, one of Pete's colleagues actually. So how is access to create and edit templates managed?
So if you can edit the app through access to your space, like just how you control access to apps, then you can edit the templates. So basically, if you give someone edit permissions to the app, you have to know that if they can then edit the templates. You can see other people's templates on there. So similar like with apps, you can see if you have edit permissions to a space, you might be able to see other people's apps within that space. It's a similar kind of theme as that. So just be careful when you're giving your permissions out that you bear in mind anyone who can edit the apps can edit the templates.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Couple of questions from Rebecca, actually. Where are we? The first one. This feels like an alternative solution to subscriptions. How does the formatting of tables perform here? For example, if a Qlik sheet size is not set to a particular size for a subscription, the table gets cut off. Does the same behavior occur here?
So it depends on how you design your report. So PixelPerfect does have the ability to build native PixelPerfect charts, and there is the ability to build a table within within PixelPerfect. So if you just loaded in the image, as I showed with the bar chart, then there is a risk that it would get cut off. However, if you build the table into PixelPerfect as a native PixelPerfect table, then you can have full control over it. And if it needs to grow because you have more options, you can allow it to grow over more pages if that's what it needs to do. So it is dynamic and scalable in how it grows. So it is a great option for that if you are struggling with the cutoff in subscriptions.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to add to that one as well. So subscriptions, for those that might not be aware, that is something that you get included within your subscription. There's no limit in terms of how many subscriptions you can generate. You can create 100 per, I think it's 100 per person, but you could have those running multiple times as part of that within a month. It's the 80-20 rule there. Typically, if you just need to get a screenshot of a sheet sent to somebody or a collection of sheets or objects, that's where subscriptions come in handy. It's a couple of clicks to do that. If you do need paging, so if you've got tables that span multiple pages, or you just need a more authored look where you've got brand coloring and stuff like that, that's when you go and spend the time to create your PixelPerfect reports or the Excel templates as well. But it wouldn't be your first port of call if you just want to see a sheet sent to somebody. That's where subscriptions come in.
And that answer links a little to Helen's question, which is, can these be set up to email out to users?
Yeah, so that's good segue into that side. So subscriptions is specifically for Qlik users. So those on capacity that have the basic users, or premium capacity that have the basic users can receive subscriptions. If you want people to have or you want to send it to people external to Qlik, so they don't have a Qlik license, that's where PixelPerfect reporting or the Excel plugin comes into play there. So you can distribute those to external recipients based on an email.
Okay, that's cool. And then a couple, Rebecca and Craig again, both asking similar question. How is it licensed? Can it be done at designer and template level, or is it purely done by the count of reports generated?
It is purely based on the reports generated. A recent change that took place was that they no longer charge for development of reports. So those that are doing the preview report that Tom kind of showcased there as well. So there's that benefit that doesn't get metered any longer. So you're encouraged to carry on developing and produce more. But yeah, it is how many reports get generated within your tenant as part of that. You have your freemium versions. So for those on a user-based model or below premium capacity, you get 1,000 of those included per month. For those on premium capacity, you get 5,000 reports generated per month included in that. You can buy additional packs of up to 10,000 or up to 50,000, and you can buy multiples of those as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Jake asked the question, what other formats can you export reports in? I think we touched on this earlier, didn't we, that it's PDF only at the moment.
For
For
PixelPerfect.
PixelPerfect. Yeah, I was going to say, could you, presumably if Jake wants to do something, I don't know, send an Excel sheet or whatever, there are other ways of doing that, aren't there?
Yeah, that's the Excel template. So the Excel template is XLSX and PDF, I believe. It's part of that. Yeah. And the Excel template is worth saying you can have that on demand as well. So if you do want an Excel download, if you wanted to put a button on there to say export this sheet, but in a nicely highly authored mechanism, you could do that using the Excel template as your base for the report.
Okay. And it wouldn't be one of our webinars without a question from John. So I'll ask my usual question. Will this only be a SaaS offering or will it make its way to on-premise?
This is already in on-premise as part of the end printing offer. So this is Qlik Cloud kind of catching up, if you like, with what was already available with the on-premises version.
Yeah.
So it's the other way around. Qlik SaaS now has what the on-prem version had.
Yeah.
And it's worth saying that the big advantage with PixelPerfect reporting is that there is no add-on needed to install. This is all baked into the platform, fully integrated. So you do it all within your browser. There's no add-on that you need to implement. There's no server you need to provision. It's done. It is a true SaaS offering from that perspective.
Yep. Question from Ian: how many pages can you do on a report?
There is a list of limitations that Qlik have on their official documentation for the product. I don't know that answer off the top of my head, but we can provide a link to that if you'd like to check. I got a feeling it is something crazy like thousands, but to give you an exact number, I would need to refer to that documentation.
Okay. Well, if you dig that out, we'll put it in the
I've got
when we send them back out. Yeah.
I've got
so
the link bookmarked.
The maximum number of generated images in a report is 1,000.
Oh, okay.
Or 50,000 objects. Yeah.
I mean, I'd be very impressed if anyone could reach that.
Ian will give it a go.
I'd like
won't
to
you,
see
Ian?
it. Yeah. share it with me if you can. I'd love it.
And then a last question from Craig: can reports be automatically distributed to a folder?
So they can be distributed to SharePoint. So your options are to email to individuals. I assume you could then email to a shared mailbox, alternatively to SharePoint. So those are your options. It's got to be an email address or to SharePoint. A folder on a server. It's not a feature at this time.
Okay. So Ian's happy with that one. We said it can't do HTML. This means that it can send a plain email with a PDF attachment, and you can't embed the graph directly in the email as you can do with one of the other tools that we were talking about before.
Yeah, not yet. The roadmap, if it goes as planned, suggests that it will be there this year.
Okay.
This year.
And then John, it says apologies, he can't see the previous questions. Does Qlik have this on the roadmap to link into application automations?
Link in as in triggered by application automations?
It doesn't say, but that would be my guess. Yes.
I've not heard anything on that, but it wouldn't surprise me if it is something they are considering. Automations can do so much already. It would make sense, wouldn't it, for that to be something that could be done. If it can't, and it is something you want, they have a good ideation portal for submitting ideas like that. So if it's something you feel passionate about and the tool can't do it, I would definitely recommend visiting that, because I've seen firsthand they've taken ideas and they put it straight into Qlik through that as a gateway. So that's my recommendation.
No, that's good, thank you. And then I've got one or two questions that were asked from people who couldn't attend, which I think might well be appropriate. Can I import an end printing report?
Yes, so that was a recent announcement with the launch of end printing in February 2025's version, I believe. you can now export from your end printing, your PixelPerfect templates from end printing, and then there is a feature on Qlik Cloud for you to then import that. It's got a very specific PixelPerfect template extension, so it's quite noticeable. It does stand out, but yes, you can do that.
Okay. And then just, blimey, you guys are keen today. Is it possible to have custom text within the email body?
To a limited degree, yes, at the moment. So the dynamic text, as you can have it in end printing, is not quite there yet. But again, that's another one which will probably likely come at the same time that HTML templates get replaced, because that's all about customizing the email body and so forth. So in end printing, you had variables which you use to make dynamic subject lines and text, and even put some KPIs or data actually within the email body. It makes sense that that's the direction that Qlik are going to go, but it's not fully there yet today.
Okay. And okay, so John, yeah, we'll contact you direct on your last question, John, because that's something specific to you guys. But yeah, that looks like it's answered them all. So yeah, I don't think we've ever had as many questions on a webinar before. So yeah, well done, Tom. And yeah, by all means, of course, if you have any further questions, then it would be just reach out to us, or if you'd like a more in-depth demo, this one was really just to give you a flavor of what the product can do. Inevitably there will be more in-depth questions, and so yeah, reach out to us. We'll set up a follow-on demonstration for you if that's what you need. And yeah, we look forward to hearing from you on that topic. So yeah, lastly, just thank you all for attending. It is much appreciated, and we hope it's proved useful, and we look forward to seeing you on the next event. Thanks all.